Hello, everyone. Oh, my name is showing differently. My name is not Sarah. So my name is not Sarah. My name is Paul Adepoju. And thank you very much for joining us today. Many thanks to those that have been patiently waiting for this to start. And it's really, really amazing to understand the fact that this is actually a subject that resonates with everybody. And we are really, really glad that we can be able to talk about this issue. Let me give you a quick background personally. For me, I have a Nigerian passport, if I'm very, very correct. It's right over here, green, white, green. Very proud of it. But once in a blue moon as a journalist, we have issues that I have to travel. I've had the opportunity to travel on several journalism trips. And it's when you are at the process of processing your passport, you know that while I love this thing very, very well, it has a number of limitations. For instance, let me give you an instance. Almost every year, a major international organization would reach out to me to attend a very, very important and relevant event that holds in New York City. But most of the time, they often reach out around 2 or 3 weeks to the event. And they will say, okay, Paul, this is happening. We hope to see you in New York. And I will say, see who? Not, not me, considering the fact that I know how many years or how many months I have to put to start planning it. So it's always an annual event, annual festival for us. I'm always looking forward to it. And I think by next month, we'll start talking about it this year again, that they will say, Paul, next week is something that is happening in New York. I used to be hungry when people reach out and we have that kind of conversation until I stayed some period in the UK and I had to go to Switzerland from the UK. I know what I had to do. I had to apply for the Schengen visa. And when I finally got it, I realized that those that have the UK passport could actually just decide to go to Switzerland that same night and they would just buy their ticket and be on the way. So that is the reality that journalists from some parts of the world are dealing with. And it has been a continual discussion. Last year, I wanted to attend the International AIDS Conference in Canada. I started my visa application about 2 months for the December, if I'm correct, for the December conference. I went the next day for my thumb printing and data capturing, but to now hear from them, I only heard from them in July this year, which was about 7 months after the conference has been held. They said, "Oh, Paul, if you go to our place, we are going to." We are going to be able to sort this out and grant it. I just looked at the email and said, who are you? Who are you wasting his time that will try to that you are going to waste his time and resources. So that is a scenario that I personally have to contend with. And I know that the stories of many journalists are like that. And that is what we are trying to have these conversations today to bring peculiar insights into these particular challenges. And the hope is that the more that we talk about it, the more we bring attention to it and probably share guidance on what we are doing, probably what you are doing wrong to reduce your risk of being denied visa, what to do to improve your chance, and how to generally go about it. So let me welcome my panelists today. We'll start with Blessing. Blessing Oladojoye. How are you doing, Blessing? Your mic is
I'm fine. I'm fine. Good evening and pleased to be here. It's cool in Lagos this afternoon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Blessing. And we're also joined by Mr. Kende Adegboyega. Mr. Kende, is it a good time to show your face to our audience so they can see your cute face, your amazing face? Hello. Yes, yes. Hello, Mr. Kende. Oh, your mic is off. Your mic is off.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, good afternoon, everyone. I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria. It's good to be here to have this conversation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So let's start with, let's open this conversation. And the best way I would like to start is Ms. Blessing. What was your first experience that made you realize that everywhere is not soft as far as international travel is concerned, that everywhere we don't have the same rule, the same rule does not apply to every person, irrespective of your career, even as a journalist, that you still have to humble yourself sometimes. What's your experience?
And I like the word humble yourself, right? Sometimes that was in June. I was supposed to attend a conference, a RightsCon, which is the Conference of Human Rights in the Digital Age. It was happening in Costa Rica. And I got, of course, the trip was fully funded by an organization. Flight has been booked, hotel accommodation has been booked, even taxi has been booked, everything has been booked. And at that conference, I was supposed to be speaking about the digital authoritarianism situation, of course, in Nigeria, of the press, how the press is being gagged. You're unable to do your work very well and effectively. And that will be, of course, a global platform to discuss and then harvest important discussions or conversations from people, hear what other people are doing in their respective countries, how they are able to really survive, if I can use that word, or work effectively despite the situation against the person in their country. So I was really hopeful. I was excited about it. The organizers already made plans to ensure that we attend. And to do that, what they did was to speak with the migration office in Costa Rica to help us get visa on arrival there. So we didn't need to apply for visa right here. Even if we need to apply for visa from Nigeria, for instance, they don't have an embassy in Nigeria. They have Costa Rica has an embassy in Kenya. Do I have and VFS, which of course is popularly known as an organization that helps with this more like a third-party organization helping to apply for visas, is not doing that on behalf of Costa Rica. So they have to travel first to Kenya to go apply for the visa. Then, so of course, when the option of you can always apply for visa on arrival came, it was like, yeah, thank God, finally. And what I needed to bring was just a police criminal record check, which I did. I, of course, no criminal case. I have not been convicted and all of that. And I got that record and I submitted it. 2 weeks before the trip, remember, everything is sorted. My accommodation, I keep getting reminder. My calendar keep reminding me, Blessing, you have to fly on so day. You have to fly to day through a particular place and all of that. And at that point in time, I became anxious. Okay, we've not heard any feedback regarding the visa application from the organization. From the Costa Rica Migration Office, nothing was coming forth. And the organizers at that point also, they were also already really anxious, nervous, and apprehensive that what was going to happen. At that point in time, they checked, okay, what was going to happen? Can we help you to ensure that, can you apply for US visa? Because if you have a US visa, you can then be able to gain access to Costa Rica. Okay, we're going to support countries, applicants to apply for US visa. If you can do that, you can then be able to come with that. Our case is so peculiar. In Nigeria, if you apply for US visa, you don't get appointments in the next 5 years. And then the organizer said, oh, sorry, you're in a very peculiar situation. We are unable to help at this time. And it dawned on me that despite everything, despite the resources available, your green passport, sorry, won't just take you there. And even at some point, because of the flight ticket that was booked for me, I realized I need a Schengen visa. So, and a full, not a transit visa in this instance, a full Schengen visa, because I'll be traveling to Paris, through Amsterdam to Paris, then to land finally at Costa Rica. So this means I'll be transiting through 2 Schengen countries. And if you must transit through 2 Schengen countries, you must have a full visa. And of course, my travel documents have Costa Rica as my final destination. So I don't have any accommodation booking in Schengen region for me to be able to say that apply for a full visa. So you could understand the dilemma I was in at that point in time. I wrote to the embassies, said, okay, so I'm going, despite all my grammar, all my English, nothing could happen at that point in time, because really they just needed all of those documents to be there. And yes, I have something to show that I'm going to my final destination. I will only be in the airport. I'm not going to move out of the airport area, but of course they say no. So the way I understand it is you're arriving in Nigeria, you arrive in Lagos State, and from Lagos you're going to Abuja. So you are exiting Lagos airport, or maybe Lagos, the international area of Lagos, to go to the local airport, which is just about 20 minutes drive. So for you to enter legitimately, you need a visa. And that means a whole lot of documentation and all of that. But yes, I read something online where someone who is Swedish, I think, as he has a passport, he doesn't need to apply for visa anyway. And when you're talking about applying for visa, it doesn't make any sense to him. He said, so you need a sticker on your passport to be able to travel somewhere. It really doesn't make sense. And one of those who featured on our session, is Canadian. He just needed to just really go there and attend the session. He didn't need all of those things. So this is a major experience, something that made me understand that as a Nigerian man, you have a lot to go. And maybe to just also say it on the other hand, that apart from what we experience, I've heard so many people even traveling down to Nigeria who experience a whole lot of this visa discrimination, or maybe challenges also trying to get visa into Nigeria. I'll pause here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I think you're absolutely right. It's an issue that works both ways. Sometimes when we talk on the global scene regarding this particular challenge, people in the global north also would say some global south countries are very, very, very difficult to actually visit. We'll get to that in a while. So I'll bring in Kainde Adegboyega. And something I want to ask you is this, personally, why do you think this is a major, major problem? Blessing has gone extensively in sharing personal experience. And to you, why is this a major problem? How do you think from the journalism human rights perspective that you seem to be actively involved with, why is this important? What is the problem? What are the potential crises that this particular issue that seems to have been, to continue to be a trend, poses to journalism, not just locally, but truly globally?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. So this is a major problem because journalists which are also categorized under human rights defender, they perform a major role in advancing democracy globally, locally, anywhere we are. And because you need to move because there is right. You need free access. You need to be able to move everywhere as easy as possible, as seamless as possible. That gives a lot of challenge, and sometimes too, especially for journalism that are seeking asylum, refuge, especially from their local country, they have issues, and it's a major concern, especially even for safety of journalists. So I can remember that when we were applying for the Costa Rica visa, they were asking us to ask for a criminal record. I'm sorry to say, this is a global platform, but I have to say from the Nigerian police force, which I can say a criminal organization that you're asking me to get a criminal clearance. And imagining that And we know the way repression is. We have had there are incidents that journalists, activists have been profiled as doing at the airport because of the work that they do. So imagine I have to get access I have to get a permission from that same organization. That means if the government don't like my face, I'm not going to be able to get it. And because our work is so important, because we cover, sometimes we cover events that are outside our local area, that we move borders, and sometimes too, because especially for human rights defenders, even for journalists too, sometimes we want to, our work means we have to go to other countries, like you mentioned, even in advancing the work that we do. Like for instance, in our session that we had at Costa Rica, at RightCon in Costa Rica, is supposed to advance issues around press freedom in Nigeria, to advance press freedom in Nigeria. But unfortunately, because of this visa discrimination, another side of this issue is also that the Costa Rica government is where I did a bit of research. They are one of the most advanced democracy, and you expect that an advanced democracy is supposed to honor most of these UN international treaties that gives priority to journalists and human rights defenders. Over 300 of us, which are mostly from the global south, were denied visa after paying, like, for months. We have paid for our ticket. I think my flight ticket have been booked since April or June. April. Everything has been booked, and it was clear. And even for that event, the organizer had a prior arrangement with the immigration, with the Costa Rican government from November last year, and still they didn't honor that. It's a certain, and it's a very discouraging factor, especially as we begin to, countries begin to look at issues around democracy. How do we, and even especially beyond even our work as journalists, even as citizens, because the issues around migration have been around. How do we improve migration rights? How do people, even people that go migrate irregularly, how can their rights be protected? So beyond even just journalists, every form of citizen face this kind of challenge, even from the global south that tend to preach democracy, and they're supposed to be like an example of a democracy. But you see, this is a really serious case of human rights abuse, and they tend to look away for one reason or the other. And this really affects our work. And I remember a journalist, even I think it would be good to also mention that not just in global north did we face this same discrimination, even in our own area in Africa here. A journalist that has a refugee, an asylum passport, was discriminated against. I think I can mention in Ghana, was discriminated against, even with that passport, and it was seen. So, and the discrimination is so sad. Discrimination is that we have against our passport, especially from countries in the global south. Is you go to VSF platform. VSF, like Blessing has described, is one of the major agencies that that try to work with
It looks like Kenny's camera is.
passport. That was when I realized that my passport was just ordinary. So there is a level to this passport, and that level brings another level of discrimination. So if we have diplomatic passports, and people can have that kind of special treatment. As in, if there can be a meeting, global meetings, and they agree that some people should have diplomatic passport, which, like for instance, if you are supposed to capture, if you are getting a Schengen visa, like when I went to get my Swedish visa, they'll capture, you do fingerprint capture and all the heavy form. But for a diplomat, you don't need to capture that. So if you are giving special treatment to a diplomat, why can't you give that kind of treatment to a journalist? Because according to our constitution, we are saying journalists are the fourth estate of them. And it seems like this thing only happened in the book. Like when it comes to having to really, when the issues now come up, it's like the journalists are not respected. We face abuse locally, we face discrimination locally, and even at international platform, we are not respected. I want to stop here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And we are seeing a lot of active engagement in the comments box. And one thing I want to do is I want as many audience to be part of this conversation as possible. I will read some, but what I really want is for you to raise your hand and naturally be part of this conversation, share your experience, share your story, and we'll take it from there. I can see Oyiza Daba's hand is raised. Oyiza Daba, your mic is activated. You can speak and you can share your thoughts. What would you like to contribute to this conversation?
Yes, thank you so much for setting up this forum. It's great to be here. It's a very interesting conversation. And I think, we as Nigerian journalists, particularly by virtue of the fact that we suffer with our green passports, it's something that we can all relate to across the board. In any case, I'm with Africa Related, and we're based both in Nigeria and in the US. And I know that with the US, for example, there are certain visas for journalists, and that helps. It helps reduce, what would normally be a very tedious experience. I don't know if other countries offer the same, but we have to look at this issue and look at it relative to our times as well. The term journalist and even press is so abused today. Anybody holding a camera is automatically a journalist. Anybody that writes a blog is, so you have embassies and consular offices also dealing with sifting through who's actually who and who's doing what. So you have to understand that. I'm not making any excuses, but I'm just saying that you have to understand that aspect of it. But truly, if we can come together under a forum or under an umbrella that can help with this matter, honestly, it will be, even within the US, even having that category of visa, I have to explain to my colleagues that I still have to go to another, to either the Canadian embassy or the Antigua, even small countries that you could normally just walk into. You can't even do that with that, with our state. So I think it's twofold. We already have an established problem with our Nigerian passport, but it's not a problem that is exclusive to Nigerian journalists. It's a problem that is exclusive, that is journalists that need visas across the world, experience. So if there's a way to lower these visa category and visa requirements for verified journalists, then that would be a way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And I really appreciate your contribution, Oyiza Dapa. And you're absolutely right. we have we have some tips to share eventually, but we just want to take as much as we can. If you would like to still share your stories, please do what User did. Just raise your hand, and we will take your comments. So we have one that has been some. We have lots of stories already in the comment box, and I'm going to read some to you. Florence from Malawi says something similar has happened to me. I got an opportunity to cover a conference in Canada. At least mine didn't take 7 months, but 2 days. However, I've still failed to go because of a tight time frame for processing. I had to travel to Zimbabwe for biometrics, and the actual processes are done in South Africa. If it were all to be done in Malawi, it could have been easier. On top of that, I got accepted for the program for 2 weeks ahead of the conference. I think journalists should be allowed to get visas on arrival. I know being from developing nations, they think we'll stay there, but that's not always the case with all of us. Thank you very much, Florence. And Nicole also said, okay. Yeah. John also said in Uganda, genuine journalists are denied visa by the very country that have free visa entry to Uganda, which is also true. Nasir Mohammed said, last October, our colleague and senior journalist from Pakistan went to Kenya. It really shocked us why this region is not safe for journalists. So there's also issues regarding journalism safety. So Dowda writes, I wish it covers how any other person can get a visa seamlessly without any middlemen, and you provide us the necessary links, and not only for journalists alone. It's okay. So yes, thank you so much for all of that contributions. Absolutely. We know that this is a major issue that are not just peculiar to journalists alone, but it will be unrealistic. Okay, Kingsley, well, it will be unrealistic to want to address this issue for everybody, which is why today we just want to focus on how these issues affect journalists alone. Kingsley, you have the floor. Hello, Kingsley.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Yes, good evening. We can hear you loud and clear. So what's your contribution?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is Kingsley Omuka. I'm a broadcast journalist. I operate in Nigeria, and I'm working with radio and TV actually. So the issue is that we know this opportunity that we normally see online, journalism opportunities. Some of them is funded, some of them is not funded. But the issue that goes beyond the visa issue sometimes have to do with, let me say, employment statement. That one is also an issue. And I think one thing is that it's difficult for you to have access to where we can get a particular format where some employees, their employer statement, this is like the format we're supposed to be using, because sometimes when we apply for this opportunity, the team bounced us back. They'll say you have been rejected, you have to try again. And at the end of the day, you keep on trying. You try for 1 year, you try for 2 years, you try for 3 years, but you feel jealous when you see other colleagues going out there, succeeding, excelling. Like, and let me say, for example, I know there's a scholarship that is on board now, the RONTC scholarship. You understand? But we, like now, I was able to get, but I'm in the second stage. But for me to feed this second stage, I know it's taxi. I have to go to YouTube to check people that have gone before. I have to check on Facebook to check my colleagues that have gone there before. I have to check on Twitter. But luckily, I got a good Samaritan that even shared me his own employer statement. This is what he did. But sometimes this seems to be issue that is surrounding it based on this employer statement, the particular format that is supposed to be used. And secondly, when people talk about motivation statement, they will say 750 words. I don't know if is it that we must keep to that words, or it must be short and simple. It's not supposed to be short. I think this is supposed to be like a guideline to us. I think this is what I expect from this training, though. And apart from IJNet, that we normally know that is like a popular site for you to see of this opportunity, which other site can we go and see opportunity that have to do with mostly the African and the West African opportunities? So that is my question to you. It's like a question, not like a contribution.
Thank you. Thank you, Kingsley. Thank you for your contribution, and we appreciate it. So we'll get into the tips in a little while, and thank you for that. And I think we have some answers to that particular query in the tips that we want to share. I'm seeing a lot of comments. I would okay, I can see Lekan Olufodurin. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to go live with your comments, I would appreciate if you can share your experience live. Just raise your hand and I will activate your mic. I have that power today. So Uncle Lekan, we really want to hear you. Yes, thank you very much. So why I'm really wanting you to really share your story. I know you've traveled far and wide. You are a veteran in this space, especially from Nigeria, and people in the ecosystem know you very well. So what is your personal experience regarding travel? Before while you gather your thoughts, one of my humbling experience too, I still remember that was when I eventually got my Schengen visa to Switzerland. I wanted to cover a WHO event. And we were in the plane. Everybody from the UK, people were just going in, no problem. Even though I had my visa stamped, immediately it was my turn. They said, oh, okay, this is a different visa. They said I should stand separately. Then I knew I had no problem. But the way people were looking at me, people that were into the plane freely, the way they were looking at me, I knew that, okay, Paul, we are here. Just eventually it worked, but I don't think that was a really, if I wasn't somebody that was calm enough, I could have started shouting and creating a scene. So Mr. Lake, thank you for joining us. So can you share your personal experience and probably tips on what has been working for you regarding this issue?
Okay, so thank you. I hope you can hear me. My network may be good. Okay, so my experience has been mixed. I would say that sometimes, like someone mentioned, visa problem is not restricted to journalists, but because we need access, it's important. For me, I have not had much problem, especially when I applied very early. And sometimes reputation can be helpful. So for me, I must have traveled to the US more than 4 times, but I can confess here that I've received help from the information department. So sometimes when they know you, when you build that reputation, there's a way they can help you short circuit. You will still fill the form, you will still go for the interview, but they will help you short circuit the time that is required. I'm told now if you want to go to the US, the next date is next year. But if you are traveling as a journalist and you have built some reputation, there's a way they can help, but you still go through the process. So I have not had that problem, but I'm aware that it can be very difficult, especially when you are running against time, when you are flying very late, or sometimes when it's a connecting flight. Recently, and sometimes it can be system. Recently, I went to Kenya, and lo and behold, the visa process broke down. We couldn't apply, but they were gracious enough to even come out and say, look, anybody can come and take it on arrival. But the other side, which I want us to know, that as we complain from Nigeria, I'm aware that there are people who find it difficult to come to Nigeria to get visa. And one particular experience that was very, very bad was that we were on a program, a Bloomberg program, to editors from Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa. We traveled to Kenya, we traveled to South Africa. For South African journalists to come to Nigeria, they couldn't get visa. I put all the strings I knew up to the presidency, it didn't work. And we had to relocate to Rwanda for that program. So much as we complain, we need to know that our own system too can also be very frustrating. But beyond that, like we said, our job is very, very important and it should not be made too difficult. And once in a while, there are also been instances, which is not general, there have been cases of some journalists who also breached trust, So sometimes they make it for people to be unnecessarily suspicious. But thank you for raising this issue, and I'm sure that our discussion has been very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And so I'll come back to my panelists, but people have been asking for, okay, we are here to learn one or two tips. So over the last couple of days, since even before we announced this session, I've been talking to experts on what they think would be the best approach to dealing with these issues. So I will give a quick short presentation. Some of the tips have already been mentioned, but I think it's really good for you to have these as take home, and hopefully it will reduce your chance of getting denied a visa. Personally, I think just like Mr. Lakon said, I don't think I've ever been denied a visa. I think I'm one of the very few ones that are very, very lucky. And it all has to do with, like he said, a good reputation, planning ahead, applying on time. So I would start that, and hopefully we can answer as many questions as we can answer. So we have play, okay. Miss Blessing, sorry, can you see my screen?
Sure, yes.
Oh, very good, very good. So sorry, oh no. Sorry, is it still showing? Continue sharing. Yes. Yes, okay, so travel and visa challenges for journalists, tips that we've gathered so far. So the first thing that I think is important for you to know is that you being denied a visa to attend a conference shouldn't mean that that is the end of your interest in that event or in that opportunity. You as a journalist, that is actually a story. It's actually a story. And I'm going to give you an instance. The denial of visas is not something that is new. Even scientists, conference speakers have always been denied visa. But last year, when the International Conference happened, and a lot of journalists were denied visa, we saw a lot of reports, a lot of stories on this, people that were not allowed to go to this conference. We saw these issues, these reporting driving attention to the need to actually deal with this issue. We saw a number of global health experts also raising their voices. So if you've been denied visa, that is an exclusive story. I want you to see it from that angle. If you're a journalist, it doesn't mean that because you've been denied a visa, that should be the end of that issue. You should actually write about it. Your editors, your news outlets should actually take that as an exclusive story and work on it. It serves two purposes. For number one, it brings attention to the existence of that problem in that sector, and it also gives you direct access to as a journalist. When you write stories, even the embassy may not be aware of the severity of what seems to be to them a routine process. So sometimes your story could actually actively contribute to the problem, to solving the problem. I know if I ask the question now that how many persons that could not attend the conference actually wrote about that denied visa experience, I know very few people would signify their interest would say that they actually did something about it. So once you are denied a visa, that is actually a story that could eventually be one of the contributions to solving that problem. Then the second thing I want you to know is that, like we said, let's say there is an urgent conference that is happening. Let's say you just heard about it today and it's happening in 3 weeks' time. You have to ask yourself a question. With this short period, should I, and you really, really want to attend, you realize that, oh, I just have to do this. And the time is so short. You have to ask yourself, should you really subject yourself to the stressful period, to the protocols and the stress within that short period, or you could just manage an online experience? So you have to, in the short time, you only have two options. Should you go for online experience, or if you still have a chance, do you still think you can pull off trying to attend physically? So I think Mr. Lakon mentioned this issue regarding documentation. And I think for me, even before you start planning to attend any conference. Even today, I want to challenge you today to create a library of accurate documentation. What are the documents that you would need for travel? I know many people, some always often rush to submit immigration applications, visa applications. I was told that sometimes it is not that you are not qualified to attend those particular conferences. It's not that you are not qualified to visit those places, but there could be a major error in the document that you've submitted that could create a problem. For instance, let's say you are putting a referee and you use a number that the person that will serve as your referee does not pick, or somebody that doesn't check emails to confirm that referee issue. So those are the kind of mistakes that people often make that are not their single undoings. So you have to create, even long before I want to challenge you, before your next visa application, sort all the documentations out. Have a folder in your drive that has scanned copies of all the documents that you know almost every application would require. Take your time to sort them out. Identify people that will be good referees, and the letter of assignment, figure out what the policy is at your organization, know who is in charge, probably have a sample ready that will serve that purpose. And press credentials, this is really, really very important. We have, sometimes they will ask for press cards, and many individuals, many journalists think this is actually difficult, but it's actually not. I'm trying to, let me see if I can show you the one I often use. I currently have 2 press cards. It's different from your ID card. Let me see if you can, let me stop sharing. So let me stop sharing so that you can see what I'm trying to talk about. So press card is different. It will be like that shows you are connected to an international reputable media organization. So currently I have 2. The one that has suffered a lot in my hand is this one. Let me see if you can see it. I got it from the World Federation of Science Journalists. That is an international press card that I have. And recently I got this Medical Journalists Association. I got this, so I'm a full member. And you may think this was, some people think, oh, I think I had to pay just a little few dollars to get this to these different press cards, but they are really, really important. Even when they are not requesting for it in the visa application, you should be able to, you can still attach it to show your affiliation with a reputable international organization. So I would recommend that you find a relevant international organization that is providing press cards in your line of journalism, and quickly apply secure this press card so that they can actually make they could actually make a lot of difference in your application. So going further, so once you have your press credential, that's what they meant by press credentials. You also need to curate a professional portfolio. And it happens, I remember, a professional portfolio simply means a place that they can easily see that you are a journalist, that they can easily connect. They can actually easily see what kinds of stories you write, who you truly are. And I was going to a country and everything was going smoothly, but they were like, okay, who are you? What do you do? Okay, you're a journalist. Okay, what kind of journalist are you? So back then, we still had these Twitter verifications. So, and on my Twitter page, I have a link tree that directly goes to, I've created an archive of my stories. So I just went there, clicked that link, and actually showed the visa immigration officer there, the visa official there, my stories that I've published. Oh, okay, he was able to quickly connect with it. And I think it's something, when you have interviews, when you have visa interviews, it is really, really important for you to have that kind of portfolio that anybody that has not met you before could quickly tell you quickly understand who you are and what kinds of stories that you do. So you don't have to wait until your next visa appointment to do that. take time to curate that, and it would also serve a lot of purpose. For instance, if you are talking to a new editor for a new position, you can easily use that professional portfolio. You also need, like I said, local contacts in places that you are going. Let's say I'm going to the US. I want to attend a conference in the US. You have to be able to actually state who would be your local contact, your handlers in that country, and also your emergency contact. And like I said, always have a backup plan, even when everything goes smoothly. Sometimes anything can disrupt it that you may not be able to attend. So these days we have an online version and online versions of conferences. And sometimes if you are finding this process really, really difficult, you may have to consider visa services. We have visa specialists that do this, considering the amount of funds that your visa process may actually require. It may be wise sometimes if you are not really, really sure about these protocols, to actually contact a visa expert to help you with this. Some sponsored conferences, some sponsored trips could actually offer to cover the cost of these service that would significantly increase your chance of having secured your visa. The another thing is you should endeavor to reach out to event organizers, and I think Blessing and Kehinde did that. That doesn't mean it's going to work automatically always, but sometimes if you want your case to be properly argued, it's really, really important for you to get the organizers involved. Let me give you an instance. The first time I would have gone to the US, like Mr. Lekan said, sometimes you reach out to the embassy. So in that case, I was told that there was no appointment date. I had already given up, and I wanted to give the organizers of that event an official reason why I would not be coming. And I reached out to them. This was so and so. Before you know it, they had already sent a mail, copied the embassy, the person in charge of the visa, and they actually asked me to come on a Saturday for that visa if I truly, truly wanted to attend. So sometimes event organizers could be your savior. They could go a long way in helping you, even if you've been told that there is no way you are going to secure this. Then you should also, like we rightly said, research visa requirements. What particular type of visa do you really, really think and you need, so that you'll be able to actually do the right thing. So I think somebody mentioned it earlier. There are some countries that offer dedicated visa for journalists. So even if other appointments are not available, if you are a journalist and that country is offering visa for journalists, then you could still be able to secure an appointment. And I think it's much, much easier to do that when you just go online and search for visa for journalists, the name of that country, visa for journalists USA, visa for journalists Ghana, visa for journalists Rwanda, or any country that you are going. They may have a special visas for journalists that, even though other individuals may not be able to quickly get appointments, you as a journalist, you may be able to secure an appointment. There are some countries that do that on time. Then this, I wouldn't have put this before if I haven't seen it in action. Contacting the consulate and embassy for up-to-date information is also really, really important. Don't forget, journalists, I know that we are always busy. We're always working in real time. We're always very, very busy. And sometimes we wait to the last minute to start our process. As journalists, it is really, really, the pen is mightier than the sword. So the global ecosystem is aware of the importance of journalists in their industry, in their day-to-day offerings, and they would always endeavor to at least do their best, not even if they don't want to go above and beyond for journalists. So it's sometimes important to really, really explore and extensively fully utilize the contact experience of the consulate and embassies for accurate and up-to-date information. So it's really, really important to get the appropriate embassy and to get the appropriate contact details so that you can actually know who you are talking to. And like I said earlier, that visa experience, they would believe that you as a journalist, you're always looking for stories. And you should always be looking for stories in that space too. You can document your experience, trying to figure it out, trying to know the experience of journalists that are trying to use their service. If you as a journalist can be stressed out, what about those that are not journalists that are actually trying to go to those countries? So your experience striving to go through this experience and actually documenting this experience could actually go a long way, like I said earlier, in being part of the solution. And every consulate, every embassy has contact details, sometimes direct phone numbers or emails that you can track or you can work on, you can utilize. So don't just let your communication with them start and end with emails and form submissions, just like people are doing. So that is for the short term or current, what you can currently do. We have what they also described as the longer term intentional and aggressive set of actions that you can take. And I describe these as a 1 year ahead strategy, which is from be planning, change your planning strategy to 1 year. And in some countries, you may actually need a 2-year strategy, which means you are trying to, even though you are struggling right now, you are trying to normalize and make it much easier for you to be able to visit these countries in 1 year or 2 years' time. So there are different, like we said, there are specific, depending on which country you are traveling to. You may need a journalism visa, a business visa, tourist visa, or visiting visa. So what you can do for now, if you're trying to get a longer term strategy, is, let's say the earliest visa appointment in your country is next year, and you've not, there's no way you could get it, then you can have a project 2024 or 2025. That which means you will be able to have visas for head to anywhere that you want to travel to from 2025. So you can start looking at it from a longer term perspective and not a short term immediate thing. So when you, for instance, countries like US right now currently offers like 5-year visiting visa. So which means if you are patient enough to just take that 1 year appointment, you know that subsequently for the next 5 years, you would have visas that can take you to this country for a period of 5 years, so you can fully maximize it. So that is what I meant by 1 year ahead strategy. Be patient. We know that you may struggle, it may take you the whole of 2024 to sort out your visa thing, but you know that subsequently you are going to be able to have visas to visit this country. And the second tip that I think is also important is for you to seek out visas that provide access to multiple countries. Let me give you an instance. If you have a Schengen visa that you got from any country, any Schengen region, you can actually visit any of these countries. So let's say you are traveling to Germany, which is a Schengen country, but there are no current visa appointments to Germany. You can look at the list of Schengen countries and try if one of them would actually have an appointment open. Unlike what currently exists, that once you can't get an appointment, a visa appointment to a particular country, you cannot visit that country. So, but if you're able to actually apply and look at which one has available options in these visas that provide access to multiple countries, then that could actually have saved you a lot of stress and could actually still serve that purpose. Even though you are not getting a visa to that particular country, you can utilize it. And I've tried it personally. I held a Schengen visa to France, but I was able to use it to attend an event, a conference in Spain. So that is another strategy that you have to do. And I know some people will say, oh, this event is happening, but do know that a lot of these events are already planned years ahead. There are biennial conferences that are held every 2 years, which means the event that will be holding in the next 2 years, they're already promoting it right now. So you need to be intentional, you need to strategize, you need to structure and develop an event calendar that would long-term event calendar that you can now be strategic regarding how you apply for your visas, how you get your documents in place, such that even though you are planning ahead, eventually you can be able to structure your event trips. So somebody talked about the Schengen visa that only gives you for the date that you need. You have to be strategic too. So for instance, if a conference is 5 days in March, you can look for another conference in that same region in the following 3 months that will still be within that period. And so that is a strategy that many individuals often use to be able to secure these kinds of visas. Do not be dismayed that these are not perfect. The situation is not perfect, but we are just trying to adapt and get the best out of what we have. And there is an approach that is called naming and shaming. I used to think it doesn't work until a journalist friend did it, which is to call out countries that deny journalists visa on Twitter. And sometimes some of them would respond and deal with this and address it. A friend of mine actually did it. She was supposed to go to the UK for a sponsored trip, and she was denied visa. She took to Twitter, she called out the Home Office, the UK Home Office, and something was done. She was invited, and it was normalized. She got that visa. So sometimes many people, I've seen a lot of journalists do it, but me personally, I don't think, I don't think that is something I honestly would do. I don't think I understand how people do it, but I've seen it. It depends on you. Naming and shaming. Once you know your documents are in place, are right, are proper, once you know you've done the right thing, many of these immigration offices, many of these embassies have appeal processes in place for you to actually maximize and utilize. So do not be afraid to make the best and maximize these opportunities to actually call them out or actually seek redress. But personally, I don't think I want that smoke arguing with an embassy over a denied visa. So it works, but should I do it? I personally will not do it, but I wouldn't discourage you from doing it, especially considering that I've seen it being used. And probably what is really, really important and an advice that people often do, and which the global landscape seems to be advocating for, is for you to just prioritize travels to countries that are easy to visit. We have many countries that are offering visa on arrival, and I think many event organizers are beginning to see it, that it's much better to have what is the essence of organizing your conference in a country where many people will not be able to attend. So instead of that, they are now choosing to host their events in countries that are easy to attend. There are some countries that are so difficult. Once you know that this is going to be a tedious experience for you, if you are really, really interested in attending, just take the online option. Or just take the online option and attend virtually. Do not go stress yourself and take yourself through the process. And I think if individual journalists begin to take this decision to think about travels from this perspective, then these event organizers will start listening and start realizing that if journalists are unable to attend, there will be a commensurate effect on the publicity, there was going to be impact on attendance, on the quality of the conference that they are putting together. So we need to start standing together and start formulating, taking decisive actions that conferences that are difficult to attend for some parts of the world, conferences that further highlight the global inequality shouldn't be prioritized. And I think organizers will start listening and those that can compel their governments to do things differently will start doing it. And those that have become much easier to visit would continue to reap the benefits of being the desired host of these major global events. So it's all about unity within the journalism ecosystem and writing stories about it, raising awareness on the existence of this problem, and bringing attention to it, not feeling ashamed to write about the fact that you were denied visa, but actually owning that story and letting people learn from that story, which is exclusively yours, and bringing attention to it, engaging influencers and stakeholders in human rights to actually talk about it, bring attention to it, create attention, create media. People cover embassies in their countries positively. When things are not going right, when things are not being done appropriately, especially to journalists, these issues deserve to be called out. And the more they are called out locally, the higher the chance of being addressed globally. So thank you very much. I hope I've been able to, you've been able to learn one or two tips from here. So Blessing and Kenny, what are your thoughts on this advice? Who wants to go first?
Ladies first, they say, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let me go first. Really useful, quite useful, and very relevant, all the things you listed. And first of all, I must talk about the press card you do mention is something that has actually never occurred to me, really. So oftentimes you hear upload your press card, attach your press card, even to applications that you're making, and you think it's just your ID card. So yes, thank you. That's a takeaway for me personally, and I think so many people will have that as takeaway as well. And the other thing is also choose the battle you want to fight, right? When you talked about prioritize, so this meeting is coming up at a particular point in time. Do you want to attend virtually? Do you want to attend physically as well? So you're choosing which one you want to go for, what option to go for. And the other thing you also talked about is, are you writing about it? So when you're writing about the story, so we went ahead to do our session. We didn't attend RightsCon. There was an option for us to go online, and then we had someone physically, the Canadian person I talked about, who was present right there, who shared his perspectives, and we joined online, and we still went ahead like everything was fine and all. But really writing about that component, that part of being denied visas, maybe not individually, like I joked about it. I said I would have said these village people. So many Nigerians will understand this. I would have said these village people if it was just me, because like everything was just there, really. Everything was just there. It was just too legal. But over 300 people were affected. So it's just basically the Black and brown people were affected, and so many people were really journalists who couldn't get visa. So that's also really something to consider, which is part of the tips you share. So when you write about it, the issue is really in the for people know about it. And maybe next time, then that particular country won't then discriminate against a journalist on the basis of visa. But then you said something about organizers selecting venue for good venue, right? Good countries, host countries. In the instance of RightsCon, Access Now is a globally relevant organization. They already did their findings. They already spoke with the migration office of the country. Who else should they speak with? So they already felt like everything was just okay. It was just one person that decided to say that this and that at a particular point in time. And when they were going to announce the next country where they're going to host the country next year, they said, you feel like something they do these people. And that's because I think they selected, is this South Korea or North Korea? From fiber
to yeah, so I think absolutely I understand. Sometimes you see the announcements that they announce and you'll be like, are these people joking or what? But I still think from my experience, except you are traveling to, like you said, such countries, when they make the announcement, it's not every country has the same kinds of problem, even those that are really, really difficult to attend. start your application immediately the next edition is announced. You have 1 year to talk about it. So how will they now engage the announcers, those that actually announce that this is where we are trying to apply, we are trying to host the next edition, engage them from the initial beginning so that they know that they are the ones that made these commitments, and they are the ones that are expected to deliver. So Jamie, somebody is asking, what are the countries that are easy to visit? It's not a global thing, though. So it's depending on the passport that you hold. I think the best way for you, Pastor, the best way for you to know the countries that you can visit is to start with you first search visa-free countries for your country. For instance, if you have a Ghanaian passport, you can search for visa-free countries with Ghana, countries you can visit without visa as a Ghanaian, so that you have that list. That is very easy. If you don't need a visa to enter that country, then if that country is not on the list, the second category that you can search for is visa on arrival. Those countries that would offer you visa on arrival, immediately you are now arrived, they're going to give you those visas. So those are the two categories that you should search for, and they are different. They vary from one country to another. So Okechukwu Onuebu would like to know, how can I join any of these international press associations? I asked this because my Nigerian Union of Journalists is no longer issuing press card. Google, my friend. Everybody go to Google. What your kind of journalists? There are international associations for the kinds of stories that you do. Press, if you are covering business, international, that will be a relevant international journalism association that provides that service, and ask them, reach out. Do you offer press cards for journalists? And I think from the comment section, I think many people are hearing this for the first time, and I'm seeing the reason why. Now I'm beginning to understand. For this my press card, I seem to be the first person that applied for it in Nigeria, because it has 0001 on it. So I was like, wait, so nobody has applied for this thing in Nigeria. So this is a good trick. Please find the relevant international journalism in your association in your area, and apply for it. Not local, please make it international. It increases your chance of getting it as soon as possible, and the validity and the reputation that you are doing. So please, thank you, Daniel Adaji. Everybody, if you go to the comment section right now, somebody has posted the link to apply for the press card for the International Federation of Journalists. So thank you very much, Daniel. So please, if you're not getting anything from this session, make sure you get that card. And even if it requires you paying a token for it, it will still be worth it, because eventually you would have a press card. So this is the link that Daniel shared. So you can just see press card. This is how you do it. You click press card here. So it's an internationally recognizable professional identification. So there are countries where you can, it has a list of countries. So your country should be on this list. If your country is on this list, Nigeria is not there. So International Federation of Journalists. So if it's not there, what you can do is, I always say, this is the contact email, mail them, bombard them with emails, ask for recommendations on what to do, let them solve that problem for you. So any organization, so apply for your card, contact your local union. So what you just need to do, these organizations offering this, please So there are, the good thing about it is, it's not just one organization that provides press card, but like I said, reach out to them. If your country is not there, that is another story you have to do. People don't like write stories. You are journalists. Why are they not giving it to you? Why is your country excluded? Get comments from them, compel them to start acting and doing the right thing to address it. If you cannot use, please, does ICIJ have a press card? If no, I think it would be good to have one. It will help a great deal, please. We currently don't offer press cards, but like I said, I can escalate that and ask my superiors about it, regarding tips about it. So please and please, but there are lots of organizations that offer press card. If you do science journalism, I have the World Federation of Science Journalism. So you can do that. If you are a health journalist, Medical Journalists Association has one. So they are everywhere. So please and please, because one organization is not offering it in your country, reach out to them, know what is happening, know whether they have plans, ask for their suggestion. And even if they still don't have it, you can apply to other associations to get it. So another question, I think, we've answered as much questions as we can, even though we are running out of time. Okay, Mr. Lekan would like to talk. Mr. Lekan, you have the floor.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, sorry, no. Okay. I didn't lower my hand.
Yes, so I think those are enough questions that we can take with the little time that we have. So please and please, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And I know we've really gone beyond the 1 hour that we planned for this session. So Mr. Kainde.
Okay, thank you so much. So I just want to add my own contribution. So number one, there's a UN rapporteur that focuses around human rights defenders, and journalists are part of human rights defenders. So since you mentioned writing, and some of them have active social media accounts that we can escalate these issues to, because the more we engage, the better the system becomes. The second thing is that, which I also want to emphasize, speak to a visa consultant, or just ask if you are going to any country, ask around, ask people for people that have gone to that country. So for instance, Sweden would only give you the number of days that you are spending in that country. If you don't have requirement for a business visa, don't bother. If you bother, you are going to waste your money. Just ask for your single entry visa and collect it in peace. Thank you so much.
Yeah, like you rightly said, it's really important for you to be well informed about what you are doing, about the country you are trying to go to, about the application process, so that you don't end up wasting your time, wasting your resources, and yes, and saving yourself the stress of being rejected, being disappointed. And I'm looking at Facebook. Sorry to our Facebook community that have not said that.
Requirement for a business visa, don't bother.
Sorry, I'm looking at the comments from Facebook. Yes. Thank you, everybody. And so I really hope that you've been from the comments. I can see that this has been a rewarding session for everybody. And I just want to thank you for staying till the end of this session. This video of this session will be available on YouTube very soon. And we expect to also have a draft story regarding tips that we've shared in this session, published on HiJNet. And I think if you Kingsley asked where you can get information about opportunities. HiJNet is really a good resource place for you to get information regarding opportunities, conferences, and everything that you need as a journalist. So please do not hesitate to visit HiJNet's website on www.hijnet.org to frequently to know the next event, to know the next opportunities that you as a journalist can get the best, can fully maximize. And this will continually be an ongoing conversation. And I hope you will start seeing things differently right now, that everything that happens in the visa application process is actually a story on its own that is waiting to be written. So before I call it a day, I would like to take the last Kingsley, Google, you can get that format online. If you download format, search for that particular code. I've searched severally and I've seen it online. So the format of the letter that you are looking for, just plug it into Google. There are lots of samples that you are going to see that are specific for the country that you are trying to visit. So it's really important to get that. They may vary from one country to another. So it's really important to get the specific one for the country that you are trying to visit. So I'll go now to Blessing and Kenny for their last remarks before we call it a day. I'll start with ladies first. Blessing.
Thank you. I thought you were going to jump that and go to Kenny.
No.
So I think I think all the things you've shared this evening are quite enlightening, not just for participants, for me, myself. Even Okule can attest to the fact that the press card is something he has not thought about before. Thank you for sharing this. When I was going to share this with people, I said, there's a blessing in everything. Yeah, I didn't go to write on Costa Rica, in Costa Rica. But yeah, I am on a global platform also talking about this. So of course, as journalists, we should always see what's next. It has challenged us. IFJ has excluded some countries from the list of those who can get press card. Do you want to do a story about that? It's something you also want to explore further. Let's see this as an opportunity to, of course, grow better. But I must say it has really been engaging and insightful. Thank you so much, Paul, for inviting me.
Yeah, most welcome. Blessing. Mr. Kedi, Mr. Kende. Your camera is off.
My own contribution or closing remark would say that we have the opportunity to change the narrative. We have the opportunity to influence our future. So, and from the highlight of the conversation is that you can write about these issues. We can bring about the change that we want. The things that happen at the global space do not come overnight. It's not but we can bring about change. Like I think Kenya has started saying that people do not need visa to visit their country. It could be an advocacy work. So we can start the advocacy, write letters, let people know, write about migration. Immigration, UN has a major agency around migration, right? We can explore them. That's the IOM. So you can talk to them, write about them, interface, and they really respect journalists. So you can interface with the UN Rapporteur for Human Rights to make this issue out. And as we continue the conversation, there'll be better opportunity for us, even from the global south, to be able to go to any part of the world. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Sorry, Kingsley still asking about the employer letter format. And I want to quickly say something. So specifically for your RNTC application, there's a format that RNTC gives you so that this is a guide. This is what should be there. whatever your employer says, this is the letter we're issuing you, that's what it is exactly. Just ensure that those key things, your name, your position, your title, because of course I've applied a couple of times before. So you just, all of those things, just ensure that it's there. So any other wordings about your position, your title within the organization is what it is within your organization. So just follow that template that RNC has given you. Don't worry, you get it. I wish you the best.
Thank you very much for that blessing. And yes, so I hope you've been able to, I think the comments are clear enough that you've been able to, people have been able to get the best out of this session. The goal, what we always endeavor to achieve in our discussions is to improve your reporting skills, and improving your reporting skills until also providing you with opportunities to access training and connection opportunities. And we have a Facebook forum that is very, very active, that is very, very engaging, that we interact with each other. People are actually watching this live stream in that Facebook forum, and we share opportunities, resources, insight, tools, and anything that we think would really help you in advancing your practice. So please check out ICFJ's Pamela Howard Forum on Global Crisis Reporting on Facebook. But you don't have to cram all of that. I just dropped the link in the chat box. Just click the link, fill the form, and join. We are going to share the video, this video for this session would be available in that forum. And the slides that I used, I would also share it in that forum. So if you're not a member of that forum, you are really, really missing out. Join our Facebook forum, and you'll be part of our community. And for more information on this initiative and other initiatives by the International Center for Journalists, please check out International Center for Journalists website on www.icfj.org. And I hope that this session has encouraged you, that no matter the passport that you hold, I hope your conclusion is that from this session is that no matter the passport that you hold, you can still get the best experience if you come to terms with reality and start thinking about these issues differently. Nobody has it all, nobody knows it all, but you can improve your chance of being able to actually visit these countries, cover the stories that you desire to cover, make the connections that you need to advance your career as a journalist. And we hope that we've been able to do that. If you need more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on if you can raise it as a comment in that Facebook forum, you can send me a DM, you can reach out to me via my email address, and we will do our best to answer that question. We do not have a webinar next week, but next week I will be announcing in the Facebook forum the winner of our mathematics reporting grant. And we've been building up to this particular moment, and the entries are really, really impressively good. I'm really proud of what we've been able to achieve with our July month-long mathematics reporting series. So please look forward to that. So thank you very much from me, and I say, and a quick shout out to everybody watching on Facebook. You've also been very, very engaging. You've also been very, very active, and you know that you are very, very special to us. And so thank you very much for sticking to the end, and I say enjoy the rest of your day. It's bye from me.